Hello, this is a quick screencast on Google Classroom with some tips and tricks for the month of October and maybe just some reminders. So first we'll start off with a reminder. When we default to the stream page in a teacher's Google Classroom, you'll see that you have what's coming down the pike in upcoming, and we have the Outsiders essay due tomorrow. If it's been assigned a due date, it will be listed in the upcoming segment on the left-hand panel here of the Google Classroom. Same goes for students. So this is just a quick reminder that if parents and students are looking at what is assigned and upcoming, it must have a due date to show up here on the left, okay? Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't show up on the to-do list. It will show up on the to-do list, but it will not show up in the upcoming segment of the Google Classroom. So let's look at the to-do list from a teacher's standpoint. I can go there two ways. The first way is within one singular Google Classroom. I click on View All, and this is everything I need to do. So I look at the work in progress. I have two things graded. I have an assigned, 0 assigned, and 0 turned in. And then as far as things without due dates, I can unfold that and you can look carefully there. And then I can also go to what needs to be reviewed, or rather what has been reviewed. The other way to get to your to-do list is to go over to the upper left and click the hamburger, those 3 lines. If I click on the hamburger and I go down to review, this is going to give me everything I need to do for all my Google Classrooms. So here you'll see a lot more. And you'll also see the color coding icons for each of the Google Classrooms that I have and that I teach. And so I can also unfold what does not have a due date as well. So there they are. And then of course you can choose your singular classes to go through also. Okay, now we're going to take a look at just a quick reminder on how to organize your classwork. Remember, we do not post in the stream any assignments, but we will post in the classwork page. So to do that again, you just go to the classwork tab and you're going to hit create assignment, and that default blank assignment will come up. So I have already started one. So underneath the Outsiders, I have it in draft mode. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. So I edit this assignment. I want this choice board so that everybody can view it. Okay, viewing rights only. I'm going to change this here to 25 points. I'm going to give it a due date so that students can stay organized. We'll give it a due date of Monday. And then I am going to make sure it has a topic. I can either create a topic on the fly right here, or I can use one that I've already have established. So we're in the Outsiders unit. I'm going to choose the Outsiders here, and then I'm going to eventually save this and assign it. But I want to show you one more way to organize. So let's say I'm differentiating between different groups within my classroom, and this particular choice board is for a group that I want to give a little icon to. So I can use emojis to do that. And there is a website called emojipedia.org that has thousands of different emojis, and you can go ahead and pick one. So I'm going to go to travel and places, and I'm going to go ahead and choose let's go down to, let's say, sunrise. Nope, we're going to do the tent for this one. Actually, sunset. We'll go to sunset, choose that, go ahead and copy it. That way you can see it differentiates from the other ones I have. And then I go back to my classwork tab, and right out in front of the title, I'm going to go ahead and click the cursor, and then I paste it, and I can go ahead and assign. So I want to assign it so that they will see it immediately. I click yes here, assign. So now it's generating, and you can see that underneath the Outsiders here, I have the sunset and the sunrise group. So perhaps you want to differentiate by groups that way. Perhaps you just want to dress it up. But I would highly recommend topics, because you'll see the topics are bold, and then anything listed within those topics are subset there. And anything without a topic is just going to be like a stream of consciousness. So really, topics are going to organize you and your students. Now let's flip to the student view. We're in student view for Connor. Connor Madden is my student. You see the C over here. Over to the left, you now see that he has upcoming work due on Monday. This is the autumn choice board we just pushed out for the Outsiders. And that's important because it has a due date, so he sees it. And I want to go over to his classwork page so that you can actually see the different emojis and how that organizes him. And this Google form that's here, without a topic, it would just be a stream rolling through with kind of a disorganized look to it. Okay, while we're in his classwork page, there is a tab at the top that says View Your Work. So I'm going to go ahead and click on View Your Work. And this shows Connor all the work he has either turned in, still outstanding as assigned, and those things that he's received back with grades. So he's gotten his essay back and he's received a 45 out of 50 there. You'll see, obviously, there are still things that are outstanding. And you also see his guardian is already named there. So that means that guardian has, in fact, been invited and accepted. Now, there's one more place for Connor to go ahead and see his work. I'm going to go back to the main page here. So I'm back on the stream. And I can click the view all here, and I can see as a student what is left for me to do as far as without due dates. And I have to see what's due this week, next week, or later. Okay. Now, under the to-do list, items that do not have due dates will show up, but in the upcoming portion of the classroom stream, it does not. So that's a little tricky. Shows up on the to-do list as an item without a due date, but on the upcoming, and let's go back one step here, upcoming, it would not show up because it doesn't recognize it as upcoming without a due date. Okay, so the other place he can go to his to-do list is in that hamburger again, just like teachers, and he can go down to the to-do list here and he's going to see all of the work that he has in all of his classes, again, denoted by these little icons based on color for the classrooms that he's a part of, okay? He can click on his assigned work. He can click on his missing work, of course, and then he can click on what's done. Okay, now we're back to the teacher's Google Classroom. So this is my faux Google Classroom. I'm in the classwork tab, and I want to show you here when I click on this essay that's been assigned, I have to go to actually view it. Just a quick reminder that when we're assigning things, we want to make sure we return so that we can sync to progress books. So here, Connor has been returned, his essay, his grade, and then Reggie Holland is still in draft mode. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a grade here. He got a 41. It'll stay in green and say draft underneath it. Until I go ahead and return that grade. So I got to make sure that I return so that not only students see their grade, but also that at that point you're able to sync it with progress book. Okay, so that's for the extension I have. But I can choose to give a private comment, or I can by typing it, or I've loaded the extension for Mote, and I can leave a voice recording as well. So I'm going to go ahead and return this to Reggie, and you'll now see that I have both grades returned. Okay, now I'm ready to sync. Obviously, the return button has turned to gray. Next, we want to just quickly review parent and guardian summaries. So most of you have already invited your parents, which is great. So let's go over to the People tab. That's where you'll be able to invite parents and guardians. Okay, and here you see Connor Madden, and his parent or guardian, Mark Madden, has been invited, and he has also accepted parent and guardian summaries from this class. And you know that because he's obviously in a darker color here in a black font, and you don't have that invite guardians notation here. If it's outstanding and Mark hasn't accepted, it will go to guardian invited is what it will read. So let's go ahead and click on invite guardians for Reginald Holland. So I click on that, and then you would type that parent or guardian's email and then click invite in the lower right-hand corner. The nice part about Google Classroom is once a singular teacher, one teacher on a student's schedule invites the guardians, it syncs up with all the other Google Classrooms that student is a part of for that school year. So only one teacher needs to be able to invite, and then everybody kind of is onboarded at that time. Now, once a parent or guardian is invited, you'll see you have the ability to click these three dots. You can email from here the student directly, the guardians directly. You can invite additional guardians or remove guardians if that's ever necessary for you. So I wanted to point out those three dots once again. And then finally, I'd like to show you where you have to turn on guardian summary. So this now is something we actually have to turn on manually. So if I go up to the settings gear in the upper right-hand corner of my Google Classroom, and I scroll down to Guardian Summaries, okay, right above the Meet link. So I have Guardian Summaries here. The toggle is off, okay? Make sure you turn that on. Once I turn that on, I'll be notified, do I want to do this for all of my classes? Yes, you want to go ahead and give a Guardian Summary for all the students' work and upcoming work and class announcements. They won't be able to see inside the Google Classroom, but they get a summary, in fact, of what is coming down the pike, what did their child miss that week, and they can set it up so that it comes daily, weekly, or not at all. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of my classes. Make sure you click Save, and now those summaries are accessible and available for parents. Okay, let's head back to the stream, which is our default page. Okay, again, we're not posting assignments here. These postings to the stream are those default postings that come because I've posted work or classwork assignments. So Google just generates an automatic post on the stream reminding students, but we never want to just place our assignments in this page because there's nowhere for anyone in terms of our students to turn them in. So you have to do them in the classwork page as assignments. If it's simply material, again, there's a place in the classwork tab for materials, questions, et cetera, but we want to pretty much live in the classwork tab. Okay, let's go back to the stream and let's take a look at this Google Meet link. Obviously, the Google Meet link is used a lot for our virtual teaching and now sometimes for quarantine purposes. So if I am going to be working with the Google Meet link, I want to share with you just a reminder that this can be regenerated if it needs to be. So let's click on that settings gear again. Let's go down to that Google Meet link. And I have the ability, remember, to turn this on and off for students should you have that need. So I can make it hidden. If I save that, I go back to my stream and you will see that it's the link is not visible. See the eyeball and it is crossed out. I can also come back to the student view so you can take a look at what that looks like there. And if I go back one step to this class, you should not see that Google Meet link. So you do have that option to turn it off. So this is the student view. Notice that the Google Meet link is gone. Okay, back at the teacher's end of things, I'm going to go ahead and turn that on and make it visible, but I'm also going to now generate a new link, okay? Sometimes that's a good practice. For example, if a student needs to be removed, that link is no longer good. Let's say we remove a student today, but for tomorrow's instruction, he needs to get back into the Google Classroom. The issue there would be that link would no longer allow him in. So you might need to reset it. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. So here I click on the Meet link and it says reset. Go ahead and reset that. It's going to regenerate. And now we have a new link. Just an FYI there, our office staff is helping and supporting us through our Google Meets often. So make sure you notify them that you've regenerated the Meet link should you need to. Okay, I've clicked save now that I've regenerated that Meet link. And now I'm going to show you now that we're into the Meet link. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, get into my Meet link, and you'll see that I have some additional controls now. So I want to be able to highlight those from your perspective when you're instructing. So if you look up here, you have the chat, obviously, and you have your people, okay? It's just me in here now, but I want to show you that your controls for as a host are now updated. So here are your host controls in the lower left, which we'll come back to in just a moment. And we're going to head on over to the student view of things and join, and then we'll show you how to remove once more a student who you may need to remove at some point. Okay, now I'm in the student view. You see that I'm Connor once more, and you'll see that before I begin, I have the blur background available to me. Now, that's in the lower right-hand corner, and I know we are encouraging students from home to blur their background if they're uncomfortable with the background, but this is on a rolling basis from Google. So blur background has opened up to a lot of people within our domain. Most students have it. In this case, Connor does, but some students do not have it. It's just rolling out and literally is doing just that. So students, if we're patient, will hopefully that everyone will get the blur background. That is part of October's rollout. So encourage and feel free to use the background blur, okay? And what you'll do now is join. So I'm joining as Connor. You see that I'm already in there as a teacher. Okay, let's head back to the teacher view. Okay, this is the teacher view. You see Connor is in there. And I am now going to show you what the host controls provide. Okay, so up in the upper right-hand corner, of course, we have the chat. Okay, and by default, everyone can put messages in the chat. And then you have your people tab up here. And now everybody has host controls that live right here. So if I click on people and I go to host controls, I can turn on and off letting everyone share their screen or sending chat messages. So you might have an opportunity where you need to turn that off, okay? And now students cannot put any messages in the chat, okay? Or obviously you can turn it on by default, it is on. I want to show you that if you need to remove somebody, you in an emergency, you're going to need to recall that up top, the people tab, you go down to the student's name, unfold that arrow, and here you can pin them, you can mute them, you actually can mute them. I don't have that ability right now. And then you can remove that student, okay? So here, that minus sign is where you would remove them in a pinch, but knowing that that student cannot come back into this Google Meet link and you'd need to regenerate it. One more place I'd like to show you before we remove them. Lower left, here are those host controls again. So it's the same thing as far as the chat feature goes and sharing their screen, turning it on and off. We have the quick access. If you want to take attendance by having to accept everyone as they come to the meet, you can turn quick access off and you would have to accept everyone as they join. So that's just a good quick heads up there. Now let's take a look at what happens when I remove Connor. So if I remove him, I get this prompt that says remove Connor Madden from the call. If removed, this person will not be able to join this meeting again. So that means this meeting link is now void for this particular student. Again, you'd have to regenerate that in Google Classroom. So go ahead and remove, and boom, Connor is gone. Okay, I hope those few tips and reminders are helpful this month, and good luck as you round out October. Keep up the great work, everyone.